Buenos dias, maayong adlaw at magandang araw po sa ating lahat, and welcome to the Mindanao TVET Webinar, Part 1, Designing Training Curriculum for the New Normal in TVET. In behalf of Mindanao TVET, I am Francis, your host for this day's webinar. Before we officially start, we would like to inform you of our webinar guidelines and other useful information. Please refer to your screen. Unmuting and unmuting. All participants will be placed on mute by the host upon entry. A participant can unmute him or herself during open forum if he or she desires to speak. Introduction of and greetings from participants. Participants are requested to introduce themselves in the chat box by entering their full name, all entries will be collated by our admin staff to serve as our attendance sheets. These shall be used as basis for issuance of digital certificates. Mindanao TVET shall be guided by the data privacy law and shall not use any personal data and information of the participant for any other purpose. During the open forum, a participant who wishes to ask a question is requested to use or click the raise hand button. Please wait for the moderator to recognize and call you to speak. Click on mute button to unmute yourself when so recognized and called to speak. Participants are encouraged to post questions in the chat box. Our moderators will collate these questions and flash them during the open forum. During sessions, participants will be placed on mute to avoid unnecessary sounds and noise that cannot be filtered. On the webinar materials, copies of the webinar presentation materials will be provided to registered participants only upon request. Email us at bmixph@gmail.com or at MindanaoTVETAssociation@gmail.com to request a copy. Kindly refer to your screens for the email addresses. The webinar will be recorded by the hosts. Requests by participants to record shall not be allowed. And lastly, on your certificates, MinTVET will provide digital certificates for registered participants. Again, only upon request. Please use the same email address that was mentioned earlier. Digital certificates are provided for free and will be sent directly to the email ad of the participant, again, only upon request. For those who wish to have a hard copy of the certificate, there will be a charge of 250 pesos to cover costs for materials and logistics. Again, we would like to remind all participants to put ourselves on mute. For the digital certificate layout, please refer to your screen. Again, we would like to remind all our participants to put ourselves on mute for the entire duration of our webinar. Before we proceed to our opening prayer, on your screen is our program flow. Before we proceed, we would like to remind all our participants to put ourselves on mute. Thank you. And now to start, let us put ourselves in the presence of our Almighty for our opening prayer.
Dear God, as we come together for a new day of learning, hope, faith, and love, we reflect on the many things and events that are happening around us. We think about and pray for all those who have succumbed to COVID-19 and all those who are still out there suffering. While we ponder on how lucky we may be for being here and still looking for what tomorrow may bring, we ask for your abundant and special blessings to all the frontliners who continue to give all of themselves so that others may live. We ask for your blessings to all those in the education and training sector, and particularly to all who are here in this gathering, that they continue to pursue their mission and goals in order to prepare us, the youth, for the future. As we are still locked up in this pandemic, we earnestly pray that they never lose hope, that they never falter, and that they never give up for us, regardless of race and creed. We continue to keep our faith in you, our God Almighty, because we know we are nothing without you. All these we ask in the name of Jesus Christ, our God, our Savior. Amen.
Muchísimas gracias, Zia. And now we would like to acknowledge our participants coming from Region 10, Zamboanga Peninsula. We have 14%. Sorry, that's Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula. And we also have 15% from Region 10, Northern Mindanao. We have 35% from Region 11, Davao Region. 23% from Region 12, Soc-Sargen. 5% from Region 13, Caraga. 6% from BARM, Bangsamoro ARMM. And we would like to also acknowledge the presence and the participation of our Board of Directors of the TVSA NCR and our TESDA Regional Directors. We have a total of 325 participants. Welcome everyone. And to officially open our webinar, let me pass the ball to the President of the Mindanao TVET, Ms. Lourdes Michon.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. As we face the new normal, we wanted to tool ourselves to combat all the challenges ahead of us. As I claim, we are the warriors. Let us join hands together, joyfully meet what is the new normal for us being ushered by this pandemic. The future is in our hands. So let us find ways. Let not be toppled by this invincible enemy, this COVID. We are not handcuffed to just stand still and close our eyes and wait for us private TVET schools to shut down. There are various forms of alternative to journey in our cause. Laban lang. In this time of uncertainty, I know we have so much fear that we might close shop, we from the private sector. And we cannot go far, as some policies is hurting us in the private sector. Time to hold on together, join hands and hold hands tightly. Stand tall, raise from where we are. Good for us Filipinos, we are resilient. We have the spirit of a warrior and a burning blood of our faith and destined to conquer, and so we can dance with the music of our times. As I say, welcome everyone in this 2 days undertakings in this first webinar hosted by your association, the Mindanao TVET, on designing training curriculum for TVET in the new normal. This is just paying you back. Form part of our services to you and a lot more coming. This is the beauty if you belong to an organization. Di ka nag-iisa. As I say welcome everyone, I will not allow this chance to pass by not expressing my appreciation seeing Director Gayona with us, And of course, attendance from BARM, Caraga, Region 13, Region 12, Region 10, and Region 9, and of course, from my home region, Region 11. NCR, you are most welcome and we are pleased with your presence and support. As Mindanao TVET will journey and find its ways of what is best for the sector. Abante Mindanao, we will heal as one. Maayong hapon sa inyong tanan.
Ngayong hapon.
Daghang salamat, Ms. Michon. Before we proceed to our first session, here are our session speakers. Ms. Maria Regina Amores, she is a senior master trainer, a national lead expert, TM2, a national lead expert for TM1. Again, that's Ms. Maria Regina Amores. And one of our speakers as well is currently a distant education professor and a visiting lecturer. We all know her, Attorney Maricel C. Engracia, PhD. We will now start with our webinar session 1, which is the introduction and overview of flexible and blended learning, to be given by Dr. Maricel C. Engracia. Let me pass the ball to her, ma'am.
Okay, sabi. Diane, may I request the host to allow me to share screen, please? Maayong hapon sa ato ang tanan.
Mayong
Magandang
hapon.
Mayong hapon, ma'am.
Okay.
Mayong hapon, attorney.
Pasensya. Thank you, Dr. Ray. Can please, I'm requesting to mute muna everyone. Thank you for the birthday greetings. But
Mute daw.
okay.
Ayan.
Before I will start with the
Hindi pwede magpa-kuan boses nila, mabatian yun, hindi.
Sir Pamplona, paki-mute muna ng sarili natin, Sir Pamplona.
Oo, i-mute daw.
I-click niyo lang po, sir. Thank you.
Click daw.
Okay, thank you for that, Sir Pamplona. Before I'd like to remove this. I cannot move my slides.
Excuse us, we're currently experiencing some technical difficulties. Just wait a moment. Thank you.
Okay, there it's there now. Siyang i-minimize. Let me first present to you. Marami kasing pumapasok na unfiltered noise. Okay, thank you. Let me first present to you the framework of the webinar this afternoon. There are 3 learning sessions within this webinar. And if you remember, this is supposed to be our training in Davao City. PAYAC and TVSA has requested me to redesign this in a webinar format so that it can still be delivered and we don't have to wait until when we will see each other again physically. So as I was saying, we have 3 learning sessions. We have 2 learning sessions for this day and 1 learning session for tomorrow. Okay, now I will only do the introduction and overview of flexible learning. This is not something new in the education sector, but it may be something new for those who are in TVET that are so used to training regulations, competency-based curriculum, what TESDA says that we will do. No? So let us see if we can understand flexible learning and fit it to the context of TVET, because it can. Okay, and our second learning session will be on designing a training curriculum that has no training regulations.
Ready unsa ni ngano na share na ko ngano ako ngalan ang naadiringit.
Okay, so
Ngit. Unsa
and
ngit?
NTR means no training regulations. CSC
Daddy,
means client-specific
ngano
courses. So we are talking about a training curriculum that we may be partnering with industries, or a training curriculum that has no training regulations yet. So let us try to learn how to design the curriculum for that in the new normal. And our third session will be tomorrow. That's designing the blended learning curriculum that I think will be adopted by TESDA for the new normal. So pag-aralan po natin ito para makasubmit tayo ng revised curriculum natin sa TESDA para magpatuloy lang din ang buhay natin. Okay, so this the webinar series aims to can I have this minimized? Aims to provide an understanding and create awareness of flexible learning and blended learning. We want to discuss the virtual setting, for virtual setting, how to design and develop TVET curriculum, and then gain knowledge and understanding how to design a TVET curriculum. And hopefully we can actually fit all this into our actual designing in the curriculum. So let me start because I have only 3 minutes here. So again, as I'm saying, the reason why we're presenting this is not to provide a lecture, although parang nagda-lecture ko dito. It may be a very boring topic for you because it's very theoretical. But the overview and the introduction is only meant to do a underpinning knowledge for all of us. The understanding of this is just an underpinning knowledge for us to already make and design our curriculum. Voila. Okay, so let me start with saying something which everybody knows already. One, that the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the world. Agree? It has brought educational disruption. Agree, okay? And the third, it has set a new normal in our directions for all types of sector, whether you're in education, okay, whether you're in education, okay, whether you're in education, keep calm, okay, whether you're in education, we are experiencing, or other sectors, we are experiencing a new normal. When we all go back after all this quarantine thing, life will not be the same anymore. It has already started and it will go that way. So how does TVET look like in the new normal? One, that's already saying this, but we haven't seen the black and white yet. There's going to be flexible learning and there's going to be blended learning. That part will be something new for all of us. Second, we expect much regulations on health and safety. We know this already. Wearing of face masks, physical distancing, washing of hands, disinfectants rather, use of disinfectants, okay? And of course, we cannot set aside the regulations that may be set by TESDA because, well, they are our authority and they are the regulating body for all private and public TBIs. So this is how it would look like in terms of visual presentation. You have an online and blended learning. Probably there's going to be a brick and mortar thing in the next months to come. We don't know if this will happen yet, but we hope there will be because we are still having problems on how to realize the actual contact of students with machines. No? So hopefully there's going to be face-to-face, pure face-to-face, or if that's going to be in the blended mode, we can have face-to-face probably depending on the design that you will be making. So let's start. What is flexible learning? Of course, we don't define this exactly in a one singular definition because even if you research, I will challenge you to research all the literature in the world or in the web, there's no singular definition. Hindi siya isang definition lang, no? Maraming definitions claimed by universities, claimed by theorists, claimed by researchers, by other authors. But one thing is sure, that there are common elements in these definitions. Secondly, flexible learning certainly has characteristics and has dimensions. That is where we will differ in the application in the context, in its characteristics and its dimensions. And then the third fact is that flexible learning is a kind of learning that is sometimes synonymously used or used interchangeably with several other terms, like you've heard about distance education, online learning, e-learning. They also say that that's flexible learning. Okay, the fourth is that this is a type of learning that is multi-layered and multifaceted. Maraming mukha, maraming layers. Okay? Now, how do we view it in terms of putting that, visualizing that into our mind? No? One, it can be considered a learning environment. It can also be considered a learning approach. Okay? It can also be considered a delivery mode of learning. And it can be considered a set of philosophies and systems. There are other authors in my research say that this is purely a method, and there are authors say that this is an ability, like your ability to be flexible, your ability to change, and the ability to be dynamic in any given context or in any given situation. Now, what is it not? Flexible learning definitely is not a traditional method. It is not the usual brick and mortar, not the usual in-person, not the usual face-to-face, not the usual or conventional type of teacher-student classroom type. So it's not a traditional method. It is not also an alternative mode of education. Other authors would really shun that out. It's really not define that as an alternative mode. And then it is not a distinct educational mode, meaning to say, nag-iisa siya or nag-stand alone. No? It has to be connected with some other types of learning. And of course, it is not also limited to online learning or e-learning. So when you say on a flexible learning, you don't refer to that as exclusively online or exclusively e-learning or even exclusively distance education. It's very complex kasi nga multi-layered, multifaceted. Okay. So let us look. You bear with me lang muna ha, nagla-lecture ako. Flexibility in the context of education, not in the way we use it in our ordinary language. It's defined as offering choices in the educational environment as well as customizing a given course to meet the needs of individual learner. There are two keywords here, choices and customization. So those keywords, you can find that in all of the author's handles. It also means on demand, anytime, anywhere, high-quality learning environments with good support services. So you cannot be flexible kung eto nga, nagko-COVID na tayo, nagka-quarantine na tayo, mag-i-insist pa rin tayo ng classroom face-to-face. So then there's no flexibility there because that is not the one demanded. That is not an anytime, anywhere thing. Flexibility is the ability also to vary, both by functioning in different ways in given situations and being able to tackle different situations in a variety of ways. So given that, putting that word of flexibility into our mind, let's put that now in the context of flexibility in the phrase flexible learning. I'll first present to you two definitions. These are Australian definitions. One of that, yung MCVET 2013, kung mabasa ninyo, is the one adopted by TESDA in their proposed guidelines. But I will not say that this is it now, because in the last TWG meeting we had with TESDA Central Office, it doesn't seem like they will really be adapting this. Pakita ko muna mamaya yung several other definitions. No? Now, why is it important to put up a common understanding in TVET? We were insisting that there should be a common understanding of flexible learning if we are going to adapt this as a learning method or a learning environment for TVET. No? Sa kadami ng definitions, mag-create tayo ng sarili. Yun ang in-urge namin with TESDA. So the other, if you notice at the definitions, they label flexible learning in different ways. But if you analyze the statements, pareho lang. No? One says, Deakin University says, it is a continuum of approaches. Pero may apat sila dyan na dimensions: time, place, space, content, and mode of learning. But these are applied in varying degrees. Greece. No? The NCVER naman, that's NCVER means the Research Institute of Australia something. It's a provision of a range of learning modes or methods, giving learners greater choice. Again, the word choice is there, when, where, and how they learn. Okay, so those are
We are currently experiencing technical difficulty. We would like to ask for everyone's patience, and we would like to also remind everyone to put ourselves on mute to avoid unnecessary noise. Thank you.
Humanag-istorya sila. Humanag-istorya.
Mute na ko. Unmute siya, ma'am. Mute ko. Nara, mute. Unmute.
Kita yung mag-mute.
Paki-mute lang muna ng sarili po natin, kung pwede. So that only the speaker will have the privilege to speak. We will allow. Okay, thank you. Are we okay now, Johns? Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying there is an author, Joanne, who did a research also in flexible learning, and he said that it is a set of educational philosophies and systems. It is concerned with, again, can we mute everyone? Okay. Set of educational philosophies concerned with choice, convenience, and personalization. Okay. In particular, the flexible learning provides learners with choices about where, again, binalik na naman yung where, when, and how. Okay, and this one says, si Jacobs naman says, that flexible learning is more of an learning environment integrating the terms customized pathways and competency-based progressions. Para lang we can frame our understanding of the elements necessary to create a personalized experience for learners. Because again, personalized experience is an important element to project a flexible learning. The other research says that this is a pedagogical approach, no? Or an instructional approach, allowing for flexibility, again, binabalik time, place, and audience, including, but not solely focused on the use of technologies. And the last, Sikan, says that this is a learner-centered type of learning. Okay. Now this one that I am flashing on the next screen is the definition, an integrative definition that I called we got from Dr. Fermin. If you know him of higher ed, Dr. Edison Fermin, he was a resource person on our TWG, and he mentioned integrating the definitions that we tried to put up, no? And it's a very good definition. You can just read that. And again, there's a mention of pace, place, process, and productivity of learning. Ito yung mga what do you call that, dimensions that he mentioned, no? And he finally, at the end of our meeting, he proposed a TVET definition of flexible learning. So sana TESDA would be able to look at this, to look all this, and This is a more fitting definition for all of us. It really fits into the context and concept of TVET in the Philippines. Okay, so it is the design and the delivery of training opportunities that address learners' unique needs in terms of pace, place, process, and products of learning. So it allows learners to control and customize learning experiences to achieve essential competencies and outcomes. Okay, so those are all the different concepts of flexible learning as a terminology that we need to look into, we need to understand as our underpinning knowledge for designing curriculum. Now, ano naman ang relationships? What's the relationship of flexible learning with other genre of learning? There's so many genre of learning as we try to evolve the different theories through times in education. No? One, I'll show you that of Deakin University again. He said, sa Deakin kasi kasama si TVET, that's why I prefer them. No? Flexible learning is not a distinct educational mode, but look at it, no? It embraces, extends, and combines a number of familiar, existing, and evolving approaches to learning and teaching. So if you can see the visual that I did, flexible learning looks like being embraced by the other types of learning. No? Parang nandun siya sa loob. So flexible learning is found in distance ed, it's found in virtual, it's found in online learning, it's found in blended, mobile. That's how you read there's this interpretation of the relationships of flexible learning with other genre. The other one is you can also view it like a learning model. It's just a learning model like any other learning models. No? So blended learning is a learning model, self-directed learning is a learning model. All these are learning models that have been presented by theorists and by researchers in different times, and it looks like flexible learning is just one of them. Okay. Now, the other view in terms of relationship of FL with other genre of learning is to look at this as an umbrella of learning. Flexible learning is like parang ito yung umbrella at sukob niya lahat si distance, e-learning, resource, and all those types of learning where there is flexibility mode in it, okay, in the design. Okay, this one is from Dr. Fermin again. I borrowed it from him without his permission. He presented it as a learning delivery mode because it's also correct. Flexible learning can be a delivery mode. It's a delivery mode by itself. You know? So here he showed that one mode can be distance learning. That's the one on the left. And on the right, you can have your e-learning. And on the middle, that's us. Yun yung sa atin na field-based learning. That is our OJT, our industry immersion, or any type where students have to go out on field to learn industry works and the job, no? The work transition thing. So that you can also view, you can also relate flexible learning as a delivery mode by looking at this visual presentation. Okay, what are the characteristics? Pag sinabi natin flexible learning, hanapin nyo lang itong mga characteristics na ito and you will know that you have hit or you've nailed it right, no? That you are into flexible learning. So you have learning choices, multiple dimensions of study, reduction of face-to-face learning environment, flexibility. It requires self-regulation. Learners take responsibility for their own learning, approaches learner-centered and all that. It can also, other authors also just look at 7. They have collapsed the characteristics into 7 and very easy to understand or remember: access, recognition prior learning, flexible content, flexible teaching, flexible resources, flexible assessment, flexible participation. So let us see if TESDA really says we need to, if TESDA says that we really need to use flexible learning, hanapin natin ito, and then in your design of the curriculum, you will be the one to adjust to what extent or to what degree you will apply the flexibility there. You know, flexibility in assessment, flexibility in your resources, and all that. Now, let us look at the dimensions. Dimensions sometimes can be said categories or the different parts or blocks of flexible learning. First, before we look at dimensions, I am using the Collis model, which has been used for so long also now. No? Tandaan natin na ilagay natin sa isip na hindi siya flexible learning kung hindi naman learner-centered. No? Everything has to be student-centered experiences. And we know this already. All those TM1 and TM2 certificate holders know about this. So there are 4 components there for you to reach the learner-centered experiences. One is your technology, one is your organizational framework, the organization of your lessons and all that, the implementation strategies, including delivery na yan, and of course, the instructional design or your approaches or what we call now as your pedagogy. So those 4 components of FL must be so integrated in order that you achieve your learner-centered experiences, because that has to appear in your blended learning curriculum, yung learner-centered. Hindi siya pwede na teacher-directed yung learning, flexible learning. Okay. Now, these are 5 categories, 5 dimensions of flexible learning, major, 5 categories of time, content, access or entry requirements, instructional or approaches, or design, and then delivery and logistics. Now, each of these categories, like time, has 5 dimensions. Content has 4, access has 1 dimension, design has 4 dimension, and delivery has 5. So how do we interpret that? And paano ba ito, no? So if you look at if you can see all of this, the one that I'm flashing now, this is what they call as the flexible learning dimension map. Now, paglaruan nyo lang ito, no? But don't destroy the whole concept of dimension, of the learning dimension. If you notice in the first column there, the category is time. Now you count, there are 5 dimensions there. Ito yung i-adjust din nyo sa flexibility nyo. Like for example, time and date of which module starts and finishes. Now, who will make that flexible? Of course, the trainer. But ang schools naman has to put into their policy of flexible learning policy in order that our trainers can can put in the dynamics into their design. No? So period of time. So yung continuum natin is i-adjust nyo which from most fixed up to most flexible. Okay? So wala tayo in the flexible learning, there is no such thing as it's 50% most fixed or it's 50% flexible. No? Kasi iba-iba ang mga sitwasyon natin, iba-iba ang pinagtuturo natin, iba-iba ang context natin, and even our socio-economic conditions, no? Because you have to look at connectivity, you have to look at kung mag-o-online tayo, may internet ba yung estudyante, meron ba silang mobile phones na magamit. So those are the things that technology can have to be very flexible. Ang technology is under your under si flexibility, no? Nasa I think resources, no? It's in your resources. So look at all this. You draw your own continuum. No? And probably you can show to test that this one I'm flexible here, this one I will need to be flexible here. For the information of everyone here, ilan na bang nakapasok natin? 200 plus na, no? Although there are 300 registered. Okay. Yung ano natin, we have tried to appeal to TESDA to make flexible learning a policy during the new normal, no? Pag i-allow ito ng TESDA, this means that we can simply redesign our curriculum and you adjust the continuum of your flexibility. But you have to show to TESDA how you do it, because it would also be unfair na binigyan na nga tayo ng freedom to redesign our curriculum, they would not know how to monitor us also if we're doing the right thing. So allow TESDA to give approval to those redesigned curriculum and play the dynamics. March tomorrow will be the one to teach you on that, looking at the different dimensions. Actually, if you ask me, you can have your own dimensions. You can have your own dimensions that fits to your own context. Kung saan kayo, kung sa munisipyo ba kayo nagtitraining or saang part ng Mindanao kayo nagtitrain. No? So look at your environment, draw out your dimension map, and draw out your flexibility continuum to support your blended learning. Okay, so I will not read that each one. You will be able to get the materials anyway. Okay, so ang importante, alam nyo na in the literature, in the theory, there are 19. There are other authors I saw that they replaced that. Now, some of that continuum, they replaced that because it's not applicable to their environment. This one I got from Dr. Fermin again. It's a very good model also that we can use in TVET. Yung dimensions niya apat lang: pace, place, process, and product. Kung hahanapin nyo sa time, because I asked him this, he said na you can put in time under the self-paced dimension. No? So kayo na gaano katagal pwede nyo ma-reach ng estudyante na matapos niya yung isang module. Okay? Self-paced ba ito? May schedule ba sila lahat? You also have to define whether you are going synchronous or you are going asynchronous. Okay? So that's the model which we hope. This one has been submitted to TESDA, and they're looking into all these models now so that they will be able to announce well and good what would be good for TVET. Okay, these are the theories that you can apply. For those who are TM1 holders, diba, may mga theory tayong na-learn, no? On constructivism, behaviorism, cognitivism, lumalabas yan, diba? You can also use that to the extent that they are applicable, but because mag-online kayo, you have to add the theory of connectivism. Paki-research na lang ng theory of connectivism and the theory of engagement. These are very online learning theories or very distance education theories. Okay? So, bakit si flexible learning tayo? Because flexible learning nag-move and change. It changes and moves according to our socio-economic context, depending on the socio-economic context of the times that we live in. Kaya nga the word flexible. No? Flexible should not be understood as fickle. No? Yung bang, hindi na lang, bukas iba na naman. No? That's not the way we look at it, no, as an educational theory. So it is really fitting the learning into the socio-economic context that we are in. So this is right. This is right in the situation of the pandemic. This is right in the situation of new normal, because my opinion is I don't think we can go back to the old normal. We have to move forward. Okay, so isa yung sinabi ko na underpinning knowledge. One is one is flexible, the other one is blended. I will not stay long here because I know that you have been our TM1 holders, halimbawa, naging na sila sa blended learning. But let me just flash to you some understanding of what blended learning means. No? It is not something new. It has been there for more than 10 years now, 12 or 15 even. No? And it has evolved. The theory has evolved already. That is why I am placing here theories that I lifted since 2013, 2015, 2017. So it's one, we know that it is an innovative concept. It is really a model learning that you hear about. One is online, the other is face-to-face. No? But I like this. It's a 2012 understanding that blended learning is the thoughtful fusion of face-to-face and online learning experiences. Ganun lang siya kasimple to understand. Na saan ka maglalaro? Let us look at the blended learning model. No? I just redrew this, but it's the same understanding of the different models that I saw on the list. No? Una, we just need to understand that blended learning incorporates direct instruction, indirect instruction, collaborative teaching, and individualized computer-assisted teaching. So if you like this, blended learning is the blend of, or the fusion of, supported teaching learning process on one hand, and the traditional teaching learning process on the other. So there's a fusion to that. So in other words, it's an integrative thing, or it can be used one after the other. First I go TL, supported TL, and then I go traditional. So many ways to interpret it. But what is important, there are two blocks there that you need to consider. Now, yung supported TL process natin, I went by the model of TESDA. They have divided that into online learning and offline learning. And then either way, you can deliver it in synchronous or asynchronous mode. No? So in the traditional process, well, we know this already. This is referred to as face-to-face, in person, or America calls it brick and mortar. It's already, the Western calls it brick and mortar. It is adopted by the whole world already. Brick and mortar being, meaning there is a physical classroom and students are there inside the classroom. And sometimes, even if there is no teacher there, no, I will mention yung suggestion ni Sir Bobet Angeles, if he's around here, may borrow Sir Bobet, na pwede lang na you can put up video in 3 different classrooms or in one classroom where there's so many students there watching and the teacher is not even there. And that saves a lot of money for the school actually. So you've supported teaching learning processes. That means supported by technology. Yeah, no? Online learning means you are wired or there is connectivity, there is internet connectivity there. Or offline, walang internet connectivity. Eh bakit supported teaching pa din siya? Kasi meron kang videos, meron kang multimedia that does not need internet. No? So yung model sinasabi nila na flipped learning, if you have heard of that, flipped learning, that's very uso in TVET. No? Singapore has a very good model in that. Ang ginagawa nila, meron na silang video using augmented reality, virtual reality. Ewan ko kung meron na kayo niyan. Ipapackage na ilan ito and the student, they deliver that to the student. The student, without internet connectivity, can open that anytime, anywhere. So, supported siya by technology, pero hindi siya wired or connected with the internet. Kasi napag-usapan lang namin to ng matagal dun sa TWG meeting namin because we have to consider the 3 environment in the Philippines. So one is connectivity, which can be divided into 3 levels. No connectivity, low connectivity, and high. So saan ba yung city ninyo, saan ba? Yung mga estudyante nyo, nandun ba sila sa no? Nandun ba sila sa low? Or nandyan sila sa high? So depende sa inyo. So when we design our curriculum, iisipin natin, may internet ba yung mga estudyante natin? Eh kung wala, dahil membro sila ng mga, I don't know, hanap ka ng curriculum na hindi mo kailangan si internet. That is why the offline learning is there. Now, kung i-YouTube, may nagtanong sa amin, pwede bang i-YouTube lang pala namin? Eh kung nag-YouTube lang ang estudyante, edi tanggalin na natin si teacher at sabihin na lang na punta na lang kayo sa YouTube, no? Dahil yung pala, hindi na kayo kailangan. So make your own. Make your own videos. Wag yung reference na lang, no? Reference lang. So that's how you interpret or you design blended learning. Gets na natin yan. This is the proposed model presented to us na proposed siya during the TWG, and this is from TESDAW. I'm not saying that this is they are adopting this now, no official yet, no, it's still under proposed. We don't know yet. I don't have no update yet on the latest. So ayan, pareho lang din, no, pareho lang what literature say. There's a face-to-face learning, and there is a online learning. So ginawa nila yan for you to be guided how you submit your curriculum. Are you going full online? Wala ka talagang face-to-face? And pwede yan. Kung full online ka, you go to e-learning guidelines, how to register your e-learning. Kung blended mode ka, you still follow the guidelines for registration of your e-learning, pero yung design mo, meron ng face-to-face. Okay, yun ang magiging capture na you are doing blended learning. But actually, you can do full online, especially for ICT and other soft skill subjects. So you can go full online. So yung nasa gitna, yun ang tawag lang blended, yun ang fusion. Yun ang blend. No? Yun ang fusion of the online and the offline. Kasi classroom, offline din kasi yan. Okay, so I have presented you 2 models already, and the blended learning models of how you do it in the pedagogy, in your design, no? In your pedagogical approach. This one, I got this from the internet. This is being used by senior high schools, or I think even in elementary. But if you read thorough, if you go to research materials or readings, you will notice that this is also highly used in TVET. No? I saw that Singapore uses a lot of station rotation, lab rotation, individual rotation. In fact, we're doing this in the rotation thing has been done in our competency base already since time immemorial. Alam na natin yun. Yung station rotation, halimbawa sa welding, diba meron kang grinding, cutting, ano pa yun, no? So, isang grupo nag-grinding, okay, isang grupo nagka-cutting. Yun ang ibig sabihin. You rotate them on the different stations in your laboratory. No? You can also apply that in your online learning. The concept of the model can also be applied. Flipped classroom, sinabi ko na, no? Gagawa, kukunin ng estudyante, gagawin niya sa bahay, ibabalik niya sa klase. No? That's why it's flipped. That's why the learning is flipped. Okay? Flex and a la carte is according to the menu. Menu ka ng menu designs there. Pipili na lang estudyante. Sasabihin na, dito gusto ko. I want an individual learning because I can manage myself. Okay? Enrich virtual, yun puro virtual learning yun. Hindi ko na naiintindihan yun. But I saw one in Malaysia where they're doing, alam ng mga IT experts natin, they just put something on their, like they're doing a movie projector and they learn from there. No? And then there is also the project-based. We know the project-based already. Bibigyan mo lang mo ng project yung isang estudyante and then bahala si Batman there. No? But there is guidance from the teacher, mentoring on how they build the case and how they build the solutions to the problems. Self-directed, inside out, outside in, supplemental, and mastery-based. Okay, so those are the blended learning models used by different levels of education now. Now, this model is the one I love most because it speaks of the kind of model that we should use in these current times. No? This is by Pisciano, 2013. It's a very good research. You can just read it. I have presented or attached all my references here. So they of course the two teachers. Let me put up the explanation of the model. Okay. Sabi niya, the only online learning model, that's for online, but you can show that in your blended learning model, shows the two human actors in education and training, the learners and your trainer, of course. No? And it shows the interaction with each other and with content. So balik yung sa model, nakikita nyo, ng estudyante, just follow the arrows, pwedeng directly siya mag-interface or mag-contact with the content. And then, bago siya pupunta ng teacher. Or the teacher will do the same. But the student can also directly interact, or there's an interface between student and teacher. There are four environments here. One is community of inquiry, structured learning, independent study, and the paced collaborative learning. If you have students who can manage well by themselves, give them the independent study environment. If the student needs guidance, they want a sequence of your curriculum, they want assessment now, assessment later, assessment again, then that's your guided structured learning ang gagawin mo dyan. The student is guided by the teacher, although online. So magwa-one-on-one yung teacher. Again, either synchronous or asynchronous ito. And then the paced collaborative learning, this is where student to student interacts. No? There's a peer group within your class and your online learning class where they do their own thing. Like if you're giving a project or what, they can use their own Google Hangout or they can use their own Zoom conference. Ito yung bago, no? Yung community of inquiry. Meron student-teacher pero meron ng other teachers. So ang estudyante, dahil hindi mo siya makokontrol pag hawak na niya sa internet, kahit kung saan-saan na siya pupunta. So that becomes his community now where he's going to ask questions. So here you look at an online learning model where the teacher is not the sole resource. The student has a classroom in a world in his hands. But where do you come in, the teacher, to make sure that learning is there? You'll find that in your design, whether you do a guided or structured learning approach, or you do a tutorial, you do a one-on-one individual experiences. You just have to look at how your students would like to have it. Okay? So there's an explanation here where you are, how the model is explained. No? Ginawan ko na lang ng explanation because that's too visual. Okay? So that ends my, oh my God, okay. That ends my presentation. And let me end with a very good statement. And I'd like to borrow Chip Kimball. I don't know him, but he's the superintendent of Singapore American Schools, one of my idol schools now. He said that schools need to prepare students for a future that is moving rapidly and is difficult to understand. I'm sure you agree with me. In most cases, we should prepare students for jobs that don't exist today, or at least not in their current form. A strong academic foundation alone is no longer adequate. Beyond that foundation, we will have to innovate with the application of student learning in a broad range of contexts. Broad range talaga. So our work in TVET will distinguish our students for work or for higher education. In designing your curriculum, make sure na naisagot mo yan. Is my curriculum designed in such a way that my students are prepared for work in the industries or entrepreneurship, or are they prepared to move up to higher education? Your diploma curriculum may probably answer that. More importantly, let's prepare them to be contributing members of society in a competitive and rapidly changing world. Maraming salamat. These are the references. Johns? So I'm done now. I think we'll be moving up to the open forum.
Maraming salamat, Ms. Attorney Maricel Engracia. And like what she said, we are going to proceed to our open forum.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, attorney. Good afternoon. Happy birthday, Attorney Nick.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you, Norms. Nagulat ako.
Okay, while waiting for our moderator, again, maraming salamat po, Attorney Engracia, and thank you also for the birthday greetings. We would like to remind our participants to keep our lines on mute. While waiting for our moderator, we would like to remind you as well on our open forum guidelines. Again, a participant who wishes to ask a question is requested to use or click the raise hand button. Please wait for the moderator to recognize and call you to speak. Click on mute button to unmute yourself when so recognized. We are encouraged to post our questions in the chat box. Again, we are encouraged to post our questions in the chat box.
Okay, is there someone recognized now for the question and answer portion?
Habang nag-aantay po tayo sa first question for our first speaker, sa mga gusto pong makakuha ng copy ng webinar,
Ma'am Jones, there are already participants I see raising their hands. Can we recognize them, please?
Ikuan daw dito, picture.
We have Marjorie Tablaro is raising her hand. Can we focus on Sir Pamplona ang lumalabas? Can we focus on Miss Marjorie? Okay. Can you recognize Marjorie Tagaro? You are raising your hand. Miss Marjorie Tagaro. Miss Hapayon is also raising her hand. Okay, anyone who is raising her hand may talk. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, Attorney Mick.
Hello, si Mary Rose V.
Hi, Attorney. I'm from Maxi po.
Yes, so from Basilan with Love.
Yes. Ay, happy birthday po pala. So, my question, yung question ko lang po, are we affected po ba yung TVET sa declaration ni President Digong that there will be no classes?
Okay.
Yun po.
I don't know if I'm in position to answer that. No, I don't know how to interpret what the president says. But just to give you the update on the move on the part of the education sector, kahapon lang na nakalabog kami niyan sa announcement niya, COCOPEA already issued a statement. The statement, hopefully, it will be read up, it will reach Congress, it will reach the president na ang stand po namin sa TVSA, and I don't know yet, I'm not speaking for MinTVET for now, I'm not part of their board. Ang stand po namin sa TVSA is that we cannot stop learning. We may like the president, but we cannot stop learning. We just hope that what the president says is he will not allow the opening of classes in terms of physical classroom. Yung physically babalik yung estudyante. Hopefully, ganun ang namin ng presidente. Because we believe that there's so many ways to let our students learn. Ito na nga, online is one. Flexible is one. So, hindi naman necessary siguro na putulin natin ang bata. There are already researchers I've seen or I've read na the longer that your student is not in a learning mode, lalo siyang, they become dull persons. D-U-L-L, no? Mean to say, not dull persons, but you know, your brains are dulled out pagka matagal ka ng not into the mode of learning, no? Whatever environment that is. So hopefully, the statement of COCOPEA will reach the authorities and we will be able to explain ourselves. Ang ano ko, personal opinion ko, is siguro tatanungin din natin ang mga schools, ready ba kayo?
Yeah.
Ready ba kayo mag-online, mag-e-learning if there is no physical classroom? So those who are ready, sige po, Mary Rose. Okay. Okay na po ba?
Thank you, Ms. Mary Rose, for your question of McAfee. Now we have our next participant to ask a question, Kimwell Hinlayagan. Please unmute yourself so we can hear your question.
Doc Kimwell, please start talking.
Paki-unmute po sa sarili. Sino yung natawag, Jones? Frances? Ano yung
Kimwell Hinlayagan. Ma'am, sir, you are recognized. You may ask your question na po directly to Attorney Engracia. Okay, babalikan na lang po natin si Kimwell Hinlayagan. We have another question. Miss Jen Basco Sarnillo, you raised your hand, ma'am. May question po kayo?
Pag na-mute ko, si Rudy, ikuan ko na ang unmute. Nag-mute na siya.
Okay, so we also have another participant who raised his hand. Mr. Michael Mustafa, may question po kayo directed to Attorney Engracia. Please unmute yourself so you can be recognized and you can ask your question po.
Hi. Yes, good afternoon, attorney. I agree with the yung sinabi nyo na supposedly learning should not stop. We have a lot of ways to deliver. In the form of, on the part of TESDA, since we know that most of our qualifications are requiring personal, hands-on, no? So, will TESDA identify which qualification we can apply for full online and blended, or we are the one who's going to propose to TESDA?
Okay, in our latest meeting, what we are pushing in TVSA, the National Association, what we are pushing is to let the private school decide for that, not TESDA to decide what kind of flexible learning, what kind of learning curriculum design you are going to deliver. We are saying that because we have to look at the context and the environment. Hindi siya pwedeng maidikta. But the TESDA, of course, has to provide us the parameters. Hindi pwedeng wala ding guidelines, no? Kailangan may guidelines din. Like for example, okay, learning mode, flexible learning ka or blended learning ka, but these conditions must be met. Number one condition yan is hindi ka lalabag dun sa training regulation at sa CBLM natin or CBC. But ang CBLM natin must be our Bible pa rin dyan. Kasi ang binabago lang natin, nire-redesign natin is only the delivery of the curriculum. Only your learning activities, how it's designed in such a way that learning could still reach to the learner in whatever way, no? Pero again, TESDA already said we cannot sacrifice quality, and we totally agree 200-300% to that, no? Kahit ako, ayokong isakripisyo natin ng quality. So let us still look at our training regulations. Let us still look at the competency-based curriculum natin, kasi yun ang pinaka-guide natin.
Ayon sa report ni RG Relator. Ubay-ubay sa mga kapuso ang ipadangat sa ilang
Attorney Engracia, your line is on mute.
Okay. May pumapasok kasi, okay. Kailangan, on the qualification, kailangan din na tayo na rin ang mag-design, no? Which qualification can go online and which cannot. Because doing an online curriculum is also, there are also rigors applied there, no? Hindi siya madali-dali na bukas, nandiyan na ang online curriculum ko, gagawin yan gagawin. So, there are qualifications we saw already na medyo mahirap yung practice, laboratory practice, no? But siguro kung meron kayong virtual reality, augmented reality like what Singapore has, there are already software now that are being sold using augmented reality, using virtual reality, which you can use as videos. It might be a perfect substitute to the students in contact with machines, no? So, stick lang tayo sa 4 na priorities. Diba there are 8 priorities ngayon, no? You have agriculture, construction, basta 8 yun, di ko memoryado. Ngayon, sa new normal, 4 na lang yata, no? Nawala na si tourism dun sa priority sector sa 4. So it's construction, agriculture, Sir Jing is here and Sir Gayona, probably they can help me in this, no? There are 4 sectors. Ang request namin in the association is focus on the priorities kasi kailangan. Health pala, no? Health, and then, what's the 4th one? Sir Gayona. Basta 4 yun na priority. Yun yata ang request ng TESDA. So you stick to the 8 priority sectors under the NTESD plan, and now the 4 priority sectors. So kung anong qualification nyo, hanapin nyo kung anong qualification na fit. Sir Gayona is here. Baka he would like to add something. Sir, can we unmute Sir Gayona?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday.
Ay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, tomorrow nyo pa present yung di ba? Yung curriculum structure.
Yes, sir.
Practically just in advance to inform everybody. Yung tanong, we will not require you, or we will not give you the template.
Yes.
Practically, we will use your template. No? We have just finished our webinar also for the scholarship for the scholarship division. Soon, napirmahan na yata ni SEC yung sinasabi ni Director Dave na guidelines. Anyway, na-present mo man yung framework doon. So, we will
Ako nang gi-off na wala matarong shutdown.
Yeah. We will be adopting the structure, the curriculum structure, the learner guide, and lahat ng iyong sa third, sa second yata natin na webinar yun, di ba?
Yes.
So in toto, practically it's not even an attachment in the guidelines. So sabi ko kasi I joined also the discussion between sa and Director Dave, di ba? Nakisingit ako. Ang tinext niya ako, sabi niya, susugan mo na to sir kasi simple. Yeah, because you do not have to deviate 100% eh. Doon i-indicate mo lang kung saan yung online, saan yung offline, saan yung face-to-face, and other modalities of learning. Right. Yun lang ang hahanapin ng provincial offices, of course. Because once you have submitted your letter of intent to shift into blended or full online, even the learning management system will not be prescribed by TESDA. You can have your own LMS, you can have Moodle, you can have Google Classroom, you can have whatever is applicable and easy for you to use. We will not prescribe that. No? Kasi like here in Region 6, one school is using the Schoology, another is using Moodle. So we will not prescribe that. It's your choice. But what we will be looking into your submission of proposals is one, of course, is the qualification of the trainer, diba? Of the learning facilitator, na dapat may kahit anong evidence na mapatakbo niya yan blended or online, no? So siguro kung may certificate of training siya, mas maigi na ma-present yun doon, no? And then of course yun, yung curriculum structure na iyon na kayo din ang gumawa sa TVSA. Ginagamit ko na ngayon sa Region 6. Pinapagawa ko na yung aking TTIs. And I will also discuss that in our webinar on Friday. I will have the webinar kasi on program development. Kasi we used to discuss project management. Ngayon kasi ang pinupurso namin dito is program. Lalo na pag agriculture ka, sabi ni Secretary Dar, dapat the whole product line, product value chain, di ba? From planting to processing to marketing to logistics, yung mga ganun. So anong qualifications doon? Lalo na yung sa NTR na sinabi ninyo. Dapat i-project-based nyo na yan. So I will be giving a webinar to my own TVIs here in Region 6 on Friday on program development. And then, run through ko rin sila doon sa inyong platform. Ang ano lang doon, attorney, in advance, kay bukas i-discuss nyo. Kasi kanina, yung mga queries ng mga focal sa baba is ano yung frequency na release ng allowance. Ano yung mga evidences ba? Kasi sabi ko sa online walang problema because if you use Google Classroom, meron siyang window for assessment, di ba? So, tapos may window, either you invite your learner or the learner encodes para makita mo na ang attendance niya.
Pwede.
But other than that, of course, output-based ka. So kung mag-offline ka, kasi madali sa online. Kasi if you use those LMS, meron siyang window for
meron na.
assessment. Yung offline, ang pera ka mahirap, yung field. So sabi ko, madali naman yan. Kung teacher ka, madali lang yon. If I am the ones facilitating the learning, every day after I have given, like for example, like correspondence type or CD, or every time I give them the learning material, I'll require an assessment. Di ba? Either formative or summative assessment. Of course, formative yan kay ongoing. Because the allowances will be released, there will be a certificate of completion that will be given after the module or after the COC. Okay. That is also our protection para doon sa kuha namin. At saka, pag-release ng allowance. Kasi nga, of course, critical ito dahil how will you monitor. So, yun, gagawa namin dito sa Region 6, how will we monitor. Pero sabi ko, the simplest monitoring is the output of the students.
Yes. Oo.
Kasi,
yun ang hiningi namin actually. Oo.
Yeah, nakalagay kasi doon sa guidelines, nominal period pa rin eh. No. Sabi ko, pwede bang palitan yung nominal duration? Hindi na particular yung attendance. yung nominal duration na lang. Sabi ko, pwede bang palitan niyo yung nominal duration noong demonstrated competence through the institutional assessment, whether that's formative or summative. Hindi yata nila, kasi di ba 80% is already equivalent to 100%. So ang tanong is magbibiling na ba? Now, sabi ko, depende yan kasi paintindi nyo muna sa NISP evaluators nyo dyan sa central office kasi baka mamaya na puro NISP yung mga TVIs. Now, ang mangyari dyan is that because that is learner-centered. Ang mangyari niyan, pag 80%, and the students themselves, the learner themselves would say, now we are ready. Bigyan nyo na lang sila ng either assignment or whatever, project-based, ganon, with output so that makomplete yung total duration. No? For the meantime, kasi hindi pa nila makuha yung yung fast learner, slow learner, hindi pa nila makuha. Kasi si Director Dave nakakaintindi, pero siyempre hindi lang naman siya ang mag-approve ng guidelines. Kasi sabi ko, even if that is, like for example, nag-TOP siya, di ba?
Yes.
Kasi ang TOP purely common or basic, parang pang-apat lang talaga yung puro qualifications doon sa TOP. Dapat kung naka-TOP na siya, i-credit nyo na yon. Yung tanong ng mga focal sa baba, pag na-credit ba yan, kailangan pa babayaran? Sabi ko, dapat. Kasi it's the school that is crediting it. So kung mayroon siyang recognition of prior learning, that is part and parcel of the curriculum. Diba?
Right.
And that's
right.
counted in the 80%. Meaning the school has to be paid 100%. Hindi mo ibabawas yung na credit nila na TOP na online.
Okay.
So yun. So naintindihan na yun. So we captured yung sa framework dahil nga simple siya. Wala ka nang itinker masyado. But I ran through the TVI sa Friday dito sa Region 6 using that. Yun na lang, attorney, yung isisingit doon. Kasi di ba may assessment din naman nakalagay doon. What is the form of assessment? Lagyan nyo lang nota bene or whatever or column ng output expected from that na magiging basis for the release of the allowances ng mga bata. Kasi hanapin ng kuha eh. So para lang malinaw doon. O para protection sa office. And then of course, dahil of course, ang mga hindi nyo naman ma-expect na lahat ng mga provincial directors ay nakakaintindi nitong pinag-uusapan natin. So mas mabuti na yon na mayroong nakalagay doon na ito yung output kasi baka hanapin ng PO sa inyo na paano namin masigurado na they are on the learning process, na they spent this, that they reached this nominal period. Because there are so many ways to do that. Sabi ko nga, if like for example, if the institution would say this is online, tapos nilagyan nyo doon, di ba may column doon number of hours. So kung sinabi niyang 3 hours, okay, 3 hours. Sabi niya, how would I know? Sabi ko, every aspect of that learning process, may number of hours indicated, pwede namang lagyan ng learning facilitators yan. Kaya nakadepende ito sa mga teachers nyo eh. Kung after 3 hours, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to submit this. Di ba? O, di, bahala na siya kung ang from 3 o'clock upwards, kung natupad niya yung 3 hours na yun. Basta may output siya at 3 o'clock na isasubmit na output niya, which is the basis now of the determination na talagang they spent a certain number of hours to learn. Kasi yung nominal period yung critical eh. Kasi nilagay nila doon eh. Hindi ako sang-ayon doon. But anyway, ako kasi sabi ko, kung competency-based tayo, outcome-based din tayo, ano ba ang kine-credit natin? Achievement of the learning outcome, not in the nominal period.
Nominal duration.
Oo.
Correct.
So, nominal duration. So, but
sir,
anyway, ganun. Ganun
okay.
na lang ang kwan. So, we
Salamat.
accepted that. So, free ang TVIs to use your own LMS.
Yes, siguro sila magpili.
Pagka bukas yung attorney, malinawan na sila.
Yes,
kasi pinag-distribute ko na dito sa akin sa TVIs ko yung format ninyo eh. Then sabihan ko na si Director Dave kanina, sabi ko, sinunod ko na yung sa TEDSA, kaya wag na kayong gumawa dyan central office dahil kahit yung TTI namin, nagtatanong. So sabi ko, ito na lang sundin ninyo kasi familiar kayo dito si BLM na to eh.
Tsaka madali lang siya intindihin. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that input. And
maraming salamat po, Dr. Gaspar Gayona. And Mr.
Yes.
Michael
Follow up?
Mustafa for your question. May
Yeah,
follow-up question po
may
kayo,
follow up
sir?
lang po. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
sige po.
Yes, I do agree with Doc Gayona na it should be output-based kasi nga medyo mahirap kapag nominal-based using the online. The reason why I asked that is because of the assessment. May mga qualifications like, let's say, EIM. So, how will it affect the institutional assessment? Kasi if we can, even with the augmented reality, virtual reality, I think they still have to do the hands-on. So, I think yung delivery kasi ng TVI will depend on how the institutional assessment will be or ano yung guidelines. Kasi dun be based on TVI how we can achieve kung ano yung dapat na maging output natin.
If you ask me, naging diskusyon na rin yan, no, that topic, yung issue nga o the students that need to have contact with machine, whether in an institutional assessment or whether in any other learning mode. Na wala kasi tayong magawa ngayon if the classroom face-to-face is not allowed yet, no? Because it's a national regulation. So we will have to look for ways that is fit to what you can do in your environment. Marami ng institutional assessment na yung estudyante mag-submit ng video, although there are risks involved here, no? Or you can just have to defer until they can do an individual assessment in your laboratory. Kasi even if there are no classes yet, ang hindi naman a physical classroom, ang hindi allow yan yung sabay-sabay sila lahat. That is why you have a rotation model na pwedeng, na-suggest na namin to ni Sir Gayona before, na pwede namang 5 per batch, 10 per batch. No? As long as you abide with or adhere to the regulations of safety, health and safety, like mask, etc., physical distancing and all. So maraming paraan. The reason why sabi ng TESDA, hindi na kami magbibigay ng template kasi nga hindi ito pwedeng gawan ng template. Iba-iba ang kondisyon natin. That's the very reason. That's the meaning of socio-economic context. So tayo na lang muna ang mag-isip and then talk it out with TESDA. Can I do this? I think in our last exchange with TESDA, after we submitted our position paper, they're so open now to the suggestions from the private sector. So, and they understand. RDG, yes, thank you for coming, RDG, please.
Yes, I agree with you, Attorney Mick, no? In fact, nalimutan ko lang ilagay doon, from me to everyone. That's from Jing, no? Congratulations to MinTVET, no?
Salamat, sir.
I agree that the premise will always be that the ultimate goal is to create a community of inquiry.
That's right.
Let's be flexible in which learners, kung may ebidensya na pinakita that the learners are fully engaged and responsible, ipakita doon sa curriculum.
Yes.
So, I advise that the educational designers must accept and adjust to the strengths and weaknesses of the medium. But build on strength. Iba-iba ang level.
Iba-iba.
So I suggest build on strength, no? Because there must always be opportunity for appropriate, sorry for adopting this word, weaving of learning activities. Iba-iba ang stroke, styles. Pero kung may ebidensya na pinakita, wow, ganito pala, pwede. Okay? So, ipakita the appropriate weaving of learning activities and techniques sa full spectrum of possibilities. So, the instructional design needs to fully exploit the potential of online communications and yung sinabi nyo kanina, community networks, community of inquiries, di ba? The online learning need to be so conceived that it is not technology. Technology does not simply provide the information. No. And serve as repository only. But it will serve as an effective platform. Now is the time for the MinTVET to put more meat, ipakita ang may ebidensya that this is an effective platform. Institution A may have this kind of ingredients in the platform, institution B may have other ingredients, pero effective, di ba?
That's right.
Okay, for learner-centered, teacher facilitative, and collaborative. So, congratulations, no?
Thank you, Sir Jing. Thank you.
Sa MinTVET. So, we don't have to forget the principles involved in education. We must have that plan to establish a climate that will encourage open communication. There should be that feeling of the learner that there is that social presence kahit online. Di ba? Kahit online. So, yun lang po sa akin.
Muchísimas gracias, RD Jing.
Yeah. Just,
Sir,
attorney, may information lang. Tomorrow will be the start of the first batch of the learning facilitators for the facilitation of blended learning. After that first batch, RDG, there will be replication, which will be participated in by the TVIs na, attorney.
Okay.
So all kasi we need to reach, the test that people will be reaching 3,007. Pero yung first batch, nag-graduate, yun yung mag-re-echo at yung participants ay mga TVI learning facilitators na.
Okay.
So tomorrow will be the start. So after that pag-graduation, so dapat RDing yung list na inform na lang other RDs na yung list of all the TVI learning facilitators that will undergo the facilitation training. Online din yun.
Online.
Dapat prepared na para pag-uwi nitong pagkatapos nitong naka-training ngayon, kayo na, yung private TVIs na yung mag-undergo noong training.
Okay. Salamat, RD Jing and RD Gayona. Maybe I request the host, are there still questions? We're running out of time. We need to proceed to the next speaker.
Yes, we still have around 8 to 10 questions, ma'am. We have questions actually from the chat box. We have 2 questions which will be flashed on the screen.
Okay, can we just have those 2 questions lang and then we have to move on?
So a question from Mr. Lugzon Raymond. His question is, can we offer blended learning na wala pang registered program for blended courses?
Okay. Okay. I'll just follow what TESDA has guided us also. One is your existing CPTR can already be as your basis to revise the learning curriculum for blended learning. Yung existing nyo, we just received the good news that there is no more need to re-register. So halimbawa may CPTR ka na sa, let's say, FBS, i-convert mo yan lang ng online. Yung sinabi ni RDG na ipakita nyo lang dun sa design ninyo how you're going to deliver until the outcomes level. Okay, yun lang. Oo. So no regular registration. But if you have no existing CPTR for any of those qualifications you intend, you have to go through the process of registering the program for online. Okay, so you have to be guided by memo number, I think 103, if I'm not mistaken, and 104. So I hope I answered the question. What's the other question?
Thank you, Mr. Lugzon Raymond, for the question. Meron pa po tayo isa pang tanong from the chat box from Mr. Ricky Deligero, and his question is flashed on the screen. Online education in the country is at its highest and is challenging schools to develop online learning capability. I understand TVIs are developing capabilities to respond to the new normal. I have conducted research regarding students' online learning capability, which results shows that 30% is incapable of going online because of these main reasons. Number 1, no internet access. Number 2, no PC or mobile phone, which are essentials to e-learning delivery. The question is, what can you recommend to aid this problem and what can TESDA do about it? Thank you so much, Mr. Ricky. Ma'am?
Okay, I'll just look at the what can you recommend. I cannot speak for TESDA, no? But what can we recommend to, first you look at, I already mentioned them, there are 3 categories of environment we need to consider. The Philippine setting, no? Kasi we are not Australia, we are not America, we are Philippines. So, tatlong level lang. One is walang connectivity. The second is low connectivity, and the third is high. Saan ba doon ang estudyante nyo? Siyempre, kung nag-research na kayo, si Sir Ricky, ito of Joji Ilaga, no? Kung nag-research na kayo na 30% lang ang walang connectivity, don't push yourself for online learning. Because that's very disadvantageous. You are depriving those of no connect. You have to design something that addresses the no connectivity issue. You have to design a curriculum that addresses the low connectivity issue and a curriculum that maybe probably address the high connectivity. We need to first define the categories of the connectivity para ano natin yung student-learner centered experiences and engagement. Kung walang internet connectivity ang estudyante, don't push for online. That's my recommendation. I think TESDA will say the same to you. Kasi nga, ang sinabi nating blended, meron dun portion na offline learning. So the offline learning is that part of your blended, your fusion, which do not need the internet connectivity. We have to wait until such time when Philippines will become a well-developed country at lahat ng every house has an internet. We have to contend with our situation now. I hope I answered your question, Ricky.
Dagdag lang, Attorney, dagdag lang.
Yes, sir.
Isali nyo yun doon sa inyong documents that will be submitted. Kung sabihin offline, anong type?
Design.
Yan by correspondence type. So, dapat yan doon. If tomorrow you will discuss naman, makita rin nila yun. Nandun din naman sa columns yan, online, offline, blended.
Ma-mention din
pero
yan.
doon sa submission ninyo sa provincial office, dapat indicate nyo na anong modality yan ng offline. Oo.
Correct. So thank you for that. We have consumed already for my part.
Yes. Maraming salamat again, Attorney Maricel Engracia. And alam ko madami pa pong mga questions pending.
I will try to answer them. Are they in the chat box, Frances?
Most of them are in the chat box and most have raised their hand. Okay. But you may directly or send your questions privately to Attorney Engracia for her to be able
chat
to
box,
answer them.
I'll answer them as much as I can.
Po.
Okay.
And if meron pa, thank you again, Attorney Engracia. Kung meron pa po kayong mga questions, and madami din po kasing nag-PM or nag-message sa ating group chat about the webinar presentations, you can request for copies through our email po, which is bmixph@gmail.com and MindanaoTVETAssociation@gmail.com. Our host will be communicating the email addresses po sa chat box para meron po tayong reference. So now, since we are pressed for time, again, thank you, Attorney Engracia. We will proceed to our next session that ends our open forum for the first session. We have Miss Maria Regina Amores, a senior master trainer, and she will be discussing the designing training curriculum for NTR and client-specific TVET courses. Let me pass the ball to Miss Regina Maria Amores.
Magandang hapon. Good morning, everyone. Can I request Dayan, our host, to share the presentation material? Okay, so welcome everyone to our webinar. So as you see, I did some tweaking on the title. Now we call it How to Design NTR CSC Course, and I call it a developer's briefing. So why briefing? Because in this session, I will not be focusing on the theories, but rather on the practice. Okay? So it's a good thing that Dr. Maricel Engracia was able to discuss some theoretical foundations already. So I will have to share with you my practices in customizing training programs. Now, To make the webinar interactive, I would say, I don't know if the host would allow me. After each slide, let us answer 1 or 2 questions before we move to the next slide. Okay, so are we ready now? So moving on to our first slide. The webinar has 3 parts. First part, we'll be discussing on the why. So, excuse me for that. It seems that we are now in GCQ because we have tricycles already. So, it has 3 parts actually. First one is why, second is what, and the third one is how. And based on your questions, we might be able to answer some what if questions. Now, why did I use this format? This is based on a format method which is quite effective among adult learners like us. Now, in the what aspect, it will focus on the essentials that we need, essential things that we need in order to develop NTR or CSC. So NTR stands for No Training Regulation, and CSC stands for Client-Specific Courses. Now, the how now will focus on the simple steps. I call it simple steps on developing curriculum which are customized to the need of our client. Okay, now I would like to start with these 2 questions. Can you see it on the screen, on the sidebar? First, have you been approached by an industry partner if you offer customized programs? Or have you offered short courses for skills upgrading? This afternoon, or shall we say we're near evening, the webinar will brief us on how we could answer yes to these questions and how can we attract paying learners. You want to attract more paying learners? Okay, so let us move on. Next slide, please. There. So, why NTR? First, because it has no training regulation. When we say no training regulation, then we don't have any standard to comply to. You don't need to think about how many bed sheets or how many spoon and fork do we need to prepare so we could comply with the standards. What we need for this NTR and client-specific courses is to prove that there is an existing demand for the course by conducting a study in our locality. So, pwede lang yan, environmental scanning, libot-libot po kung pwede na. Or if not, there are some references that we can use. Okay? So, after doing a study, you also need to prove that there are takers of this course. There are people who are willing to enroll and really pay. So, you have to write it down and include it in your justification for your NTR courses. Now, these NTR courses may not be registered with TESDA. You only need to register them if your students will be going abroad and they will be requesting for CAB so they can apply for DFA Red Ribbon. But if you want your students to have credentials with SO issued by TESDA, then we might as well register it. So everybody wants to have SO and certification. So I suggest You may have NTR courses, but try to register it. Now, what should you do if you want to register an NTR course? Then you have to approach to develop the curriculum, follow the template that TEST is giving under UTPRAS, and then approach the PO UTPRAS focal, and then ask if your NTR courses is accepted. Okay? That is for new courses. But there are sometimes you have existing course already. Our WTR can be further customized, and they can be chunked into smaller parts. And when you do it, you are now trying to offer short courses. Okay, so should you decide to have short courses or a chunk of your WTR course, then I believe this is what we have practiced before. You have to affix the phrase leading to. Leading to, and then the title of the course. And then after that, you have to get the approval of your PO UTPRAS focal. So if they said that it can be done, then we can register it as a short course. Okay, so now how did CSC or the short courses become CSC? Paano? Remember, we chunk it so that our clientele can only enroll those chunks which they need. So they don't need to repeat everything. They don't need to spend so much time in the school. All they need to enroll is the chunk or the short course that you have, that you are offering. This practice is what we did before when I was still part of a school. We have so many short courses. Actually, these short courses used to be the, how do you call it, bread and butter of the school, because we do earn so much from the short courses. Okay, so why NTR again? Because they are client specific and they attract paying students. Okay, so do we have questions so far? So wala pa. Let's move on. Next slide. In the next slide, we have the essentials of NTR and CSC. So this answers the question one. What do we need for us to develop NTR and CSC courses? So these are based on my experience, of course. First, we need to have a study that will help us justify the need, which could be a TNA result or training need analysis result. So you really need to have a study on that, which could be conducted in your respective locality. And then sometimes these needs are generally implied in the labor market information report. And just recently, we were informed that better consult Philippine Development Plan, because you would know the projected or the outlook of the labor market if you look at the development plan. So I believe now that top priority is construction. And then you can also look at the key employment generator of your locality. Take note, I am always mentioning locality. So because labor market depends on the locality. Okay? So we cannot say that what is in demand in one place could be in demand in another place. There is outlook, but you need to look at what is the situation in your respective locality. Now, assuming there is a growth in number of business establishment and the identified KEG or key employment generator would be from mining and quarrying. So question would be, what are the skill requirements of mining and quarrying? So this is just an assumption, of course. And then, what you can do is ask around. Kaya lang, may COVID, mahirap maglibot. Baka may kilala kayo, tawagan na lang. Ano ba kailangang skill niyang mining and quarrying na yan? Assuming, okay? So after knowing what are the skill requirements of these business establishments which are around your school or your vicinity, then it's time for you to think, ano ba ang pwedeng i-offer, paano siya gagawin? Okay? So yun yung sasagutin natin later on. So again, ano ang references natin para malaman kung anong mga courses ang pwedeng i-offer? Siyempre, meron tayong LMIR or Labor Market Information Report. Meron din tayong Philippine Development Plan, yung ating list of key employment generators, at syempre, yung within our control ay mag-conduct ng training need analysis. So, wag pong magulat sa TNA. Mamaya sa example natin, makikita nyo, simple lang yan. Okay? Next, second, after knowing kung ano yung ating mga skills required by these local establishments, ang gagawin natin is to have a breakdown of the competence. Be-breakdown natin kung ito yung skill requirement, paano yan ginagawa. Okay? Ano yung trabaho nila, ano yung components ng trabaho, ano yung mga equipment na ginagamit. Okay? So lahat yan ililista natin. Now, sa paglilista, sa experience po namin when we conducted the senior master trainers, ang karaniwan namin ginagamit ay job description at saka yung job breakdown. Mamaya po ipakita ko sa inyo, i-share ko sa inyo kung paano namin siya ginamit. Okay. So, third would be, na ilista na natin, i-breakdown na natin ano yung mga dapat na trabaho at nalalaman ng mga target nating client. So, ang gagawin naman natin is alamin ano yung detalye. Kung meron pong existing na standard, madali pong malaman ano yung mga performance criteria. Kung wala naman, ang gagawin nyo lang po, mag-interview kayo ng isang senior employee ng kumpanya or pwedeng may kilala kayo na minero o kausapin nyo, ano ba yung mga skill na kailangan mo? Tapos ilista. No? Ano po ito? Mukhang mahirap kasi big word yung TNA. Pero pagka tinignan natin, simple lang siyang gawin. Uupo lang kayo sa tabi ng worker. So to simplify, what are the essential things that we need? Sabi nga natin, so if a company approach us and partner with us in their talent development program, what we need would be, first, JD or job description of the different job positions in their company, and then prepare job breakdown of the competencies, list them down, and we have to perform the gap analysis. So kailangan natin patunayan that there is really a gap dun sa hinihingi ng trabaho at saka kung ano yung kayang ibigay o yung kayang gawin ng ating mga workers. So alam na natin saan manggagaling, ano ang gagawin pag alam na ano yung trabaho na or promising job, ilista ang mga trabaho nito, himayin ang trabaho, alamin ang mga kaalaman at kakayahan na dapat na alam niya. Okay. So, punta tayo sa susunod. Next slide, please. Ito na. May question po ba bago ako mag-tuloy-tuloy? So, ang tahimik nila. Okay. So, in these steps, meron tayong 6 steps. Simple lang po yan. Parang yung sinabi ko rin kanina, nadaanan natin. Gumawa ng listahan ng mga duties and responsibilities. And normally, nandyan siya sa job description. No? Ang mas maganda pa sa job description, pati yung mga tao na dapat niyang that he or she has close coordination, nandoon din. No? Kanino siya nagre-report, sino yung madalas niyang katrabaho, ano yung mga equipment na under his custodianship, kasi lahat po yan, potential na gawan ng training program. Okay? So, step 1, ilista or kumuha ng kopya ng JD. Pag walang JD, sabi ko dito, you can do this by allowing a senior worker to list down his duties and responsibilities together with the tools and equipment under his custodianship and who are the people he has close coordination with. So, step 1, yan. Then, step 2, we break them down and convert them into specific duties and responsibilities and competency statements. I believe nung kayo po nag-undergo ng, hindi ko alam kung lahat, no? I believe when you undergo the standards development for school administrators, naggawa na kayo ng mga competency statements, kaya kayang-kaya na ito. So for step 3 and 4, Bijan, ano na yung gagawin natin? So we have, after listing down, we have to perform gap analysis. So ang ginamit po namin dyan ay yung decision matrix. Mamaya ipakita natin ano yung laman. Tapos, sinabi na namin ano-ano yung mga skill set pa na ituturo dun sa nangangailangan ng training. So after nun, yung mga performance criteria at saka yung mga duties and responsibilities will have to convert into learning outcomes. Kasi pagka i-convert na po natin siya dun sa mga dapat matutuhan ng worker, that will become the heart of the curriculum that we will develop. I will call it curriculum, pero pagka nasa short course po tayo, ang tawag natin course brief, no? So, ayan. Kaya, pupunta tayo dun sa number 6. Prepare the course brief and eventually the training curriculum. Okay? So, mas madali po ito kung nakikita natin kung paano siya gawin. This time, ako na po ang mag-share ng aking screen. Ipapakita ko yung mga templates na ginamit ko nung nag-workshop kami. Okay? Sana mapanindigan ko ang pag-share ng screen, di ba? Alam niyo ba na mas kinakabahan pa ako dito kaysa ang face-to-face? Asa na ang aking file? Job description. Okay. Kita na po ba ng lahat ang aking job description? Pag sasagot po, pwede kayong mag-thumbs up. Okay, so ito pong job description na to is not the ideal job description. Ito po ay output ng isang senior aircon technician sa isang eskwelahan. Participant ko siya sa isa sa mga training ko. And then sabi ko, sir, lista mo lang kung ano yung mga ginagawa mo. No? So his job title is senior aircon tech. Tapos isa sa mga trabaho niya ay mag-install ng split type air conditioning unit. And he reports to the technical department head. Ito yung mga ilalagay. Kung halimbawa po wala tayong time na pumunta sa kumpanya para ipa-fill up ito, we can do it by phone. Tawagan lang, interview, phone interview. Or kung halimbawa may HR, baka hingin na lang to sa HR. Pero minsan kasi mas magandang dun mismo sa worker dahil bukod dun sa nasusulat, meron pa pong ginagawa yung mga workers na minsan hindi na-scope dun sa nakasulat na job description. Kaya mas maganda, get the information from the horse's mouth. So dito, ang ginawa ni Sir, yan. Oh, sabi niya, ito daw yung mga ginagawa niya, mga main duties and responsibilities. Siguraduhin na makakapag-install based on the plan. Okay? Tapos, ensure na proper ang connection ng wiring. Tapos, ensure na wala talagang leak yung system. Tapos, to do that, sabi niya, ang qualification daw dapat. Ano siya NC2 holder din siya. Good for him, medyo familiar sa sistema ng TESDA. Tapos nun, ayan, palagay ko nag-undergo din siya ng training dun sa kanyang, yung supplier nila ng air conditioning unit. So, ito pong job description na to is not ideal, but somehow it could help us see ano ba yung ginagawa nitong tao na to. So, kung gusto niyo pa siyang gawin na mas detalyado at para makatulong sa inyo, you can always do it. Okay? So, isa yan. So, ito yung step 1 natin. Okay? So, mag-i-stop ako uli at kukuha ako ng panibagong document. So, matapos ang job description, anong susunod natin? Hihimayin natin siya. We will break it down. So, job breakdown naman po ako ngayon. Ito ang aking job breakdown. Akin talaga no po. Mapapansin niyo po may mga footer yan kasi yan po yung ginamit namin sa training with yung training namin on in-company trainers aligned with Asian standard under RICO TVET. So dito po, ito so ang nilagay lang nila dyan for step method kasi pagdating ng panahon, gagamitin din siya sa pagdidisenyo nga nung kurso, kaya nilagay na niya na 4-step method of instruction. But for breaking down, umpisa lang muna tayo dito. Yeah, paano ba mag-breakdown? Siyempre, lalagay niyo pa rin ano yung gagawin, sino ang mga trainee, siya at saka co-workers niya daw. This is very raw yung document na to. Hindi ako masyadong nag-edit. Pinabayaan ko siyang mag-accomplish. Tapos, ayan, ROC certified and many other. Ang highlight po nitong document na to, itong job breakdown, ay yung step 1 at step 2. Yung introduction and demonstration. Ano ba yung trabaho? Bakit kailangan siyang gawin? Okay? So, matapos mong masabi para saan yung trabaho na yan, ba't siya kailangan gawin, eto na, hihimayin natin ngayon. According to the person, no, eto, una daw dapat nagpa-practice ng safety at saka ng 5S. O may PPE po dyan. Very tong word na to ngayon. Gamit na gamit ang PPE. So, first column, ano ba yung dapat gawin? Mga steps to perform the job. So here siguro, laging magsuot ng PPE. Hindi na niya ginawang statement, basta kung ano lang yung naisip niya na ginagawa niya. After nun, when we say key points, ito po yung mga dapat tandaan habang ginagawa itong trabaho na to o itong duty na to. Habang ginagawa ito yung mga dapat tandaan. Ano yon? Nakasuot daw ang PPE. Tapos gamitin ang tamang tool para sa tamang trabaho. Yun yung mga dapat tandaan kapag safety ang pinag-uusapan. So, after mo sabihin yung key point, lagi po natin sasabihin yung rason. Ba't kailangan tandaan to? Ba't kailangan gawin ito? So, ito yung reason yan. Okay? So, lagi po nating sinasabi yung reason. But saan ba natin gagamitin itong mga to? Because when you develop the course brief at saka yung pag nagtuturo ka na, yan po yung magiging highlight ng iyong pagtuturo. Kasi dyan lalabas ano yung mga kailangan nila at saka mukhang ang liit ng detalye pero ang laki pala ng epekto sa trabaho. At para sa ating mga training institution, opportunity po yun. So lahat ng kulang sa kanila, pag nakita natin, pwede natin gawan ng programa at pwede tayo mag-offer ng mga tinatawag na in-company or in-house training. Okay, so isa pa sa mga na-identify niya ay planning the installation of the aircon system. Itong planning the installation of the aircon system. Saan po iyon? Tumatawag ba sa akin? Okay. Ayan, wala na. Akala ko po may tumatawag sa akin. So, isa sa mga in-identify niya in planning the installation of the aircon system. Actually, dito po sa exercise namin na ito, itong aspect na to yung in-identify niya na na point of difficulty. So, ibig sabihin, habang ginagawa natin to, somehow, kapag ini-interview mo yung tao mismo, sa description niya kung paano niya ginagawa, makikita na natin kung may difficulty o wala. So, doon pa lang nagti-TNA na tayo. Okay? So, sabi niya, yung po sa akin talaga yung ingay na yun. So, location of the installation, tapos layout of the installation and air conditioning system. Now, bakit dapat alam nila paano mag-layout? Para daw, una, pag tama ang pagkakaplano, mabilis ang trabaho. Tapos, walang masyadong problema. At saka, ayan, maiiwasan yung rework. So, ano naman, matured na yung worker na gumawa nito dun sa trabaho niya. So, nakikita niya ano yung mga dapat gawin. And then, perform the installation. So, ganyan niya lang kasimple, tinignan yung trabaho niya. Pero pag hinimay po natin yan, dadami yan. Okay? So, na-breakdown na, hinimay na yung mga duty niya. So, ito na ngayon ang pagtutuunan natin ng pansin. Lalo na itong planning installation. Kasi for him, sabi niya, sabi niya ganyan, hindi po kami marunong gumamit ng computer-aided drawing sa pag-i-sketch. Sabi ko, ba't kailangan mo pa yun? Pwede nyo namang i-sketch ng mano-mano. Kasi kasama yun sa competency ng RAC. Dapat marunong magmano-mano sketch. Sabi niya, mas mabilis po ang trabaho kapag marunong kami ng computer-aided. So, siya ang nakakaalam ng trabaho niya. Kaya we have to take it into consideration. Remember, pinapakinggan natin yung worker para malaman kung ano yung ibibigay na training sa kanila. Now, ito pong dinidescribe ko sa inyo, tawag dito, parang nakikiconnect ka sa iyong mga kliyente para pag nag-design ka ng programa, no? Pwedeng minsan, isang kumpanya lang ang kukuha niyan, pero makikita mo lalaki. Pwede rin siyang ma-i-offer in other companies hanggang sa pwede mo na siyang i-offer para sa public. So, job breakdown niya. Meron na tayong JD, tapos na-breakdown na natin. Susunod, gagawa natin ng analysis. So, stop muna ako ng sharing. Tapos, kukuha po ako uli ng, ayun. Ito na po yung aking, can you see the skills gap analysis now? Kita na po. Ito yung skills gap analysis template. Dito po hihimayin na siya. So dito ko kailangan yung performance criteria. Kaya sabi ko kanina, kung may existing standard, pwede natin tignan yung performance criteria doon at gamitin natin din dito. Pwede ring mangyaring copy and paste. So hindi pa rin nawawala ang technology ng copy and paste. So, sabi dyan, use power tools. Ayan. So, nilista-lista niya. Pwede nyong i-consult ang TR, i-compare itong mga ito. So, dagdag bawas na lang tayo. And then, tignan yung pagkakasulat kung tama. So, let us focus on this. No? So, creating a design layout using software. Kasi sabi nung sabi nung worker na nakausap ko dyan, gusto nila, actually hindi lang siya, silang mga technician na marunong din gumamit ng computer sa pag-sketch kasi nga naman mas mabilis at saka parang professional looking at skills upgrading ito para sa kanila. Okay? So, ang nilagay niya lang, una daw, dapat naiintindihan nila yung mga symbols na ginagamit sa rack. Tapos, paano gamitin yung, actually, ito AutoCAD to dapat. Use AutoCAD or CAD in preparing layout. Tapos, save layout in different format and then print. So, mukha pong simple pero pagka inilapat natin yan sa course grade, dadami yan. Yung pong mga naka-red dito, yan, galing yan sa galing yan sa TR ng rack. Ayan, stall dome rack, domestic. Nakikita niyo po ba itong tuldok-tuldok na ito? Nakalagay dyan, lack, need to improve, competent. So, ibig sabihin, sa paggamit ng tools, pakiramdam niya, competent na siya. Sa paggamit ng computer-aided drawing, kailangan niya pang mag-improve. Oo, pwedeng alam niya na itong mga symbols na to, yung symbols na ginagamit sa rack, pero hindi pa siya marunong talaga gumamit ng computer-aided drawing. Kaya nilagay niya, need to improve. Tapos yung iba pang mga sabi niya, competent. Bakit? Kasi senior rack technician po ito. Alam niya na yung trabaho. Kailangan niya lang upgrading. Okay? So, since lumabas sa ating skills gap analysis, ito ang hindi niya pa alam. Self-inventory po iyan. Ang nagsabi nito ay yung mismong may katawan na ito ang kailangan niya. So, dahil sabi, ito daw ang kailangan, kaya tayo ay mag-draft na ng ating programa. So, ano-ano yung document na nagawa na natin? Job description, job breakdown, and skills gap analysis. Okay? So once we have identified this, ililipat natin po ito. Dadalhin natin siya doon sa susunod nating dokumento. Okay? Yeah. So ano ba yung huli? Ito na po ang ang huli kong ipapakita sa inyo. Yan. Pag sinabi po natin course brief, comparable siya, familiar tayong lahat sa course outline, di ba? Familiar tayo. So, course outline, parang ganyan din po yan. Wala lang yung sobrang detalye. So dito, sabihin title, yung rational nyo, pwede nyo rin samahan ng description. Tapos ano na yung mga learning outcomes. And then, after na learning outcomes, ito na. Sino ang ating mga target participants? Nilagyan ko po ng within the last 4 years kasi ang kumpanya po ay nag-i-invest dun sa mga tenured employees. So, yung balak nilang patagalin sa kanilang kumpanya. And then, ito simpleng outline lang po yan. The outline may be included or not. Ang highlight po dito would be the learning outcomes, sino ang participant, tapos ano ang magiging delivery mode at methodologies. Gusto po ng kumpanya normally, if they have the facilities, you do it in their company. Tayo ang pupunta sa kanilang kumpanya. Pero normally po, ang nila is, kung para hindi ma-disrupt yung kumpanya, yung operation ng company, mas maganda kung sa eskwelahan nyo. If you have the facilities, pwede nyo i-offer nyo. Tapos, ano ba yung terminal requirement? When you say terminal requirement, at the end of the course, ano dapat yung expected na nagagawa nila or may project ba? So, yung profile, dito po ang nilalagay natin, yung mga trainers natin, syempre. Ano yung kapasidad nila? Ito ang titignan itong dalawa na ito ang titignan ng decision makers. Gaano katagal, saan gagawin, tuwing kailan, tapos magkano. No? Kasi normally po, ang course brief, binibigay yan sa mga decision maker together with our proposal. Okay? Yan. So, iyan po ang ating different documents na pwedeng ma-produce. No, pag nagawa mo na ang course brief mo, ang gagawin mo na lang, sulat ka ng proposal at saka ng letter of introduction at pwede na siyang ipadala sa kliyente na nag-approach sa'yo. Okay? Sa experience po namin, tuwing may mag-a-approach sa amin at magko-customize kami ng programa, ano yun? Mga 3 months, babalik na yan sa amin. Tapos, ano na yon, go na yung programa. At alam niyo na, ang kasunod na pag nag-go ang programa, di ba? Sabi natin kanina, every time na ang industry partner will approach us at magpapa-customize, ibig sabihin nun, they are willing to pay for the course that we will be offering them. So, going back to my presentation. Okay? So, yan yung steps or demonstration ng ating steps. This time, dun sa, ito na yung last slide ko, classmates. Kasi sharing lang talaga ito ng kung paano ko siya ginagawa. So, YNTR again, say yes to your client and earn. No? Ano ngayon ang mga takeaways natin dito? Hopefully, dun sa shinare ko sa inyo, somehow, nagkakaroon na kayo ng idea ano yung mga pwede nyong i-customize, ano yung pwedeng, ang tawag dito, yung pwedeng i-offer immediately na pwedeng mag-attract ng mga paying students. So, YNTR, meet your client's need and build your institution's viability. So, alam naman natin, di ba, mahirap ngayon ang buhay. So, dapat nag-iisip tayo on how to offer courses that will earn us some income. So, with that, marami pong salamat. Ready na po ako sa kung merong magtatanong. Kung wala, mas maganda.
Maraming salamat po, Ms. Regina Amores. So, we are now opening the floor for the open forum po. We may now proceed to the open forum. You may raise your hand. Click the raise hand option or submit your questions po sa ating group chat. Habang nag-aantay po tayo sa mga questions or sa mga mag-raise ng kanilang hands, madami pa po kaming nakukuhang requests via the chat box for the webinar presentations. Again, you may request via our email addresses po. That's bmixph@gmail.com and Mindanao TVET Association@gmail.com.
Yung
Meron po
po
ba tayong
presentation material, may copy na po ang secretariat. Tapos ipo-forward ko na lang din po yung mga templates sa kanila para pag binigay sa inyo yung presentation, you can also have an example.
Sige po, Miss, PyTac Incorporated, raise yung... You're recognized po to ask your question.
Yeah, this in regards with the course brief.
Okay.
I hope I can be heard. I had a question regarding yung NTR. I hope I can be heard. Yeah.
Yes. Opo, naririnig po.
It's yeah. I had made all of these steps. I've done this already.
Oh, very good.
And unfortunately, yours is better than mine. Complete ang yung sa'yo. Gusto ko ng kopya nun para mapaganda ko pa. I was planning to make a trade merchandising. The problem is when I presented to TESDA, of course, may mga kulang. they were telling me that it's under customer service. Now, ang explanation ko doon, customer service TR. So, ang sa akin naman, it's a merchandising because it's a demand-driven. Marami tayong mga merchandisers sa stores, particularly groceries. In the customer service training regulation of TESDA, this is just like an overview of everything. You have to learn how to inventory, you have to learn, including cashiering, you have to learn it. But what we need, a demand-driven is, if you can see these merchandisers who displays, so we don't have a training of that. Wala tayong training ng ganon. I have conducted the seminar on this, and I want to register it with TESDA. Oh, can you give me hints on how to convince them that this is a different course? I mean, we teach merchandisers how to make planograms, how to make those taggings, and you cannot find it in customer service. They have only a general rule that you have to arrange and display. That's it. Not in depth, and I cannot register it as another TR because I said it's under customer service. I think I don't want to argue with TESDA, but I want to, you know, I want to promote this one kasi ang dami nating merchandisers, they were hired just because they need a job. And pagdating naman sa mga recruitment agencies or these employment agencies which look for merchandiser, they just required at least high school graduate who can read and write. Yun lang. Wala, hindi nila hinahanap kung are you capable of doing the price tag? Are you capable of, you know what is planogram or something like that? Now, how would you arrange this one? FIFO, what is FIFO?
Okay.
First in, first out?
Sir,
Or the question is,
you were saying that na-offer mo na siya before and you wanted to register it with TESDA.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you help me on that? How to convince them?
Ganito po sir kasi, in our case, depende po kasi yan kung, paano ko ba sasabihin? Kasi kami yung mga short courses namin before, napapayagan eh. Napapayagan po baka napepwersa namin. No. Pero sabi po dito, buti na lang may tumulong sa akin sumagot dito kasi TESDA po yan eh. Ako practice ko to eh. Sabi po, you can have it endorsed by industry, no? Salamat kay Dr. Gayona. Siya nagsabi nun eh.
Now, just to expound that.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the budget for the TESDA Tulong Trabaho Law was returned for the social amelioration, but that is the concept of it. If you want to prove that there is a demand, it's not you that will decide on it. Let it be endorsed by the industry association, because that will be the proof that TESDA would. Because the danger of allowing such programs taken out from the existing, most especially those that the performance in the performance criteria taken out from the existing competency standards, is that we might be proliferated with a lot of institutions offering short courses without monitoring, without control. That's why, if you want that to be registered with TESDA, because there is already a guideline on that for the Tulong Trabaho Law that can still be implemented. Unfortunately, wala na yung budget for scholarship. But if you want it to be a business on your own and have the recognition, kasi remember, there are a lot of agencies that will look for the NC. So if that is NTR, there will be no assessment for that. So there will be no national certificate. However, the answer of the TESDA personnel could also be valid. Why? Because that could be part of the component. Remember, UTR is only a minimum requirement. You can expand on that, and you could have reasoned out that yes, it's a part of that, so that all the other components could be through recognition of prior learning, and that's the only component that will be assessed, so that may NC din siya. Because a lot of industries would also look for the national certificate. That's the one that we are guarding. Quality, yes, may quality.
That's my dilemma.
But how about the control and the monitoring of the most especially because it will be registered with TESDA. So the only way that you can convince ako, if you are in my region, the only way that you can convince me if you have it endorsed by an industry association. Diba? Kasi yun yung mga, di ba yun na yun ngayon, the tulong trabaho sa qualification that might not have a TR but in demand. And who will dictate the demand? It's the industry. That's why even the enrollees for the tulong trabaho law will be endorsed by the industry association. That's the only way that you can convince the TESDA personnel. Ako, hindi mo ako ma-convince ang katulang industry support. Yeah, because as presented by the speaker, di ba? It's for the industry. So remember before we entered into this TR perspective, we have the supermarket of competencies. If you can still remember that, that was the purpose of it.
Yes,
the industry could come in, get modules, combine them, give to the school as a program. Pero we will be going back into that, but how long will the journey be? I do not know because we do not have the expertise in that anymore. So if you want it to be registered NTR, one is that endorsed by the industry. Because the registration of the NTR will have a condition for as long as there are jobs ready. Diba? And that is what the demand is saying. And this does always emphasize that because for some time we had been supply driven, not demand driven. That's why sa ngayon, kailangan mong industry association para mapakita mo there is really a demand. And this program responds to the demand. Then you can go into the nitty-gritty of the preparation as presented kanina. That's the only way that you can convince the people because certainly they might be calling me. Alam nila dito. They might be calling me, sir, anong gagawin dito? Get the endorsement of like if you are in Region 11, they have already the full enterprise-based training which I started and are teaching practically enhanced on that. Now, so kung ang industry magsabi, yes, we need that because that's not covered by the customer service act. No, so we need this because our people in the merchandising needs to this, and practically even the elements. If you have seen the elements of the merchandising, makikita mo mayroon doon sa bookkeeping, mayroon doon sa customer service. So practically,
yes, sir.
Integrate mo. You responded with the gap by integrating the modules or elements of different qualifications. But the most important indicator is whether the industry really needs that. If you can have that support of the industry association, it will be easy for you to register its demand. Kasi like yung organic agriculture, wala yung TR noon. Sa akin yung nag-start sa Davao, NTR. Ang proof mo lang is that as long as there is jobs after, siyempre agriculture, pagka nag-alaga ka ng 10 manok, di may trabaho ka na, di ba? Ganun din yun. The two things, endorsement of the association so that it will really show there is a demand. And second is because there is a demand, then there must be jobs. Then it can be registered NTR. It can even access the scholarship practically. Kagaya ng organic agriculture, ako nag-risk niya na magkaroon ng scholarship. But again, because the presentation was for your survival and you do not need the scholarship, it can be paid. Then let the industry endorse that. Industry association endorse that.
Okay, that was a very detailed. That was a very detailed answer. Maraming salamat po. Siguro sa Manila kasi very active ang mga associations. Kaya pag sa NCR, kaya pagka nagpa-register kami, aware na sila, kaya po siguro na-approve agad kahit NTR. No? But you need to have the support of the industry.
Any other questions?
Hindi question yung nandito. Ang puro hingi ng presentation.
Yes po, maraming salamat Dr. Gaspar Gayona. Ma'am, meron pa po tayong isang question. Mr. Inocencio Angeles of Agusan del Sur College raised his hand, sir. You may address your question now po.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, kanina pa pala naka-raise yung hand kay Attorney Mick Ingracia. But anyway, i-bring up ko na lang din sa group. Total, nandyan naman sila RD Gaspar, RD Jing, mga sa TESDA, no, officials. Baka lang ako pwedeng mai-suggest na total marami tayong offered online courses sa TESDA, sa Central. Pwede bang mga RD, pwede ba nating, although sinuggest ko na to kahapon na 6 hours kami sa region namin, no, sa Caraga with RD and PD namin at saka administrators. Pwede bang i-consider natin na ipagamit na yung materials ng central office sa online training dun sa mga meron ng registered na kapareha. Example lang mabilis na pasok sa mind ko. Kunya FBS. May FBS sa online training sa central office. May FBS ako, NC3. I understand hindi na kailangan magre-register ulit. I don't know what is required for me to be able to offer online At saka ang point ko po, in fact sa DepEd and sa CHED lagi ko to sinasabi, gusto natin ng pare-pareho ng quality, at least minimum standard, at least pareho tayo ng tinuturo based on TR naman yan eh. So bakit pa magpapakahirap isa-isa, napakatagal gagawa based on TR din naman. At saka kung sinasabi natin ang tinuturo ng TESDA Central Office ay good quality online training, ba't hindi yun na ipagamit na lang natin para good quality training din ang maibigay natin sa mga bata? Sigurado tayo. Tapos yun namang mga nag-audit, iisa lang hinahanap nila kasi pare-pareho ng material ang gamit. Salamat po, RD.
Yeah. Soon it will be downloaded sa region na no? Ngayon kasi 'di ba it's centrally managed. Soon it will be downloaded na sa regions. Yun na lang yung critical, yung question mo na yun mapapagamit pa kasi sa ngayon, like for example, nag-online siya, tapos nag-enroll siya sa school mo, yung nakuha na niya doon sa online, i-credit mo na yun. Pero yung point mo is that yung online existing, pwede niyong i-adapt, di ba? So yun na lang yung critical question, but soon ida-download na ho yun sa region kasi ngayon, centrally managed pa siya eh. Lahat ho ng TOP ng TESDA, i-download na ho yan sa region. And it might be together with the guidelines na kasi permado na yata ni SEC yung guidelines. So yun na lang hintayin natin ho pag na-download na dito sa baba. Kasi you can consider, ang online training ng ating TM2 ngayon, curriculum development, yung platform na yun ang ginagamit. So you can just point out na your learning management system is the TESDA online platform. So you can just indicate that in your application, di ba? Letter of intent that you will ship into blended or pure online, then proof. Then isa doon sa proof is your learning management system. So you can indicate that in the format tomorrow that will be presented, you can just indicate that the platform that you will be using is the TOP platform of TESDA, rather than get the Google Classroom or whatever. No? So, and still, that will depend in your RD there. Bago RD mo ba ya? Hindi kagaya namin ni RD Jing yan na kahit saan mo itatapon sa TVET, alam namin. But that's as I've said, wala hong prescribed template ang TESDA when it comes to the learning management system. So, most probably, you can adapt the TOP platform. For the meantime.
Thank you, RD. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, host.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Dr. Leona and Mr. Angeles. Meron pa po bang question for Ms. Amores? We have a question pa po ba for Ms. Amores?
Hello, Ms.
Wala na,
Frances.
lobat na sila.
Lobat na sila. Ms. Frances?
Yes po, ma'am.
Let me say thank you in advance to Ms. Reggie. Those who are asking for the copies of the presentations, yes, we will give you copies, but it will be through your email addresses. Second, I have posted on the chat box for the questions that were written on the chat box and were not entertained kanina. We gave out the answers in the chat box. I also supplied you a copy of the latest, nagnakaw na naman kami ng mga memo orders, nagnakaw, from TESDA. Nakakuha kami ng kopya ng memo order ng TESDA, which is numbered 406, dated May 20. Nandun po yung question natin regarding mag-conduct na ba kami ng training, kahit pwede na bang mag-conduct ng training ang GCQ, ang agriculture, nandun po, it contains there. But then, it was also supplied with the response of Director Gayona in here. Ewan ko kung naka-private yun. If it was private, can we request the host to post the answer of the Dr. Gayona in the chat box, saying that you will still have to depend on the announcements of the local government. Kasi nakalagay dun sa memo order, June 20 na mag-start. So, medyo nasa litong-lito pa tayo ngayon, June 20 or September, or we follow Duterte, hindi pa natin alam eh. So, I think the safest answer would really be, wait for your LGU to announce, because GCQ, ECQ are also LGU dependent.
Yeah.
So, yun po sa taga-Takurong na nagtanong niyan. Thank you, Sir Gayona, for ano.
And on Friday, there will be an IATF. Di ba narinig nyo na sinabi ni Sec that we are mulling to start June. Mulling pa lang yun. But then that was before the announcement of the President na wala ng klase.
Yes.
So, but then kung titingnan ho ninyo doon sa IATF resolutions, said lang at DepEd na nakalagay doon. Because they have the calendar, the academic calendar. Tayo wala naman tayong academic calendar eh. So, ginawa na ho yung document, ihahabol sa Friday meeting ng IATF because the secretary will really ask permission sa IATF to allow TVET. But then even if there is a pronouncement of the central to start, it's your LGU pa rin. Kasi kahit ngayon kami naka-GCQ, the governor and mayor of Makato, Aklan has already given a go signal kasi agriculture. So, kung sabi namin kanina sa pinag-usapan namin, halimbawa 1 hektarya, yung 25 pwede mo ikalat sa 1 hektarya eh. Social distancing naman ang importante eh. Yes, for agriculture. Pero with the concurrence pa rin ng local government units. Kasi kahit anong gawin ng central, if the mayor and the governor will not allow, ang manghuhuli ho ay ang mayor, ang hindi ho ang central office. Kaya kahit kami dito, okay na sana. Pero pag nagsabi si Mayor Treñas na ipapakulong ko kayo, wala tayong magawa, di ba? Kasi sila manghuli, hindi naman ang central office. So, gilinaw ko yung kanina sa discussion namin sa scholarship na once the LGU, lalo na doon sa may approved na, approved QM at saka attorney yung mga nag-start na, di ba? Tapos nabutan ng lockdown, diploma.
Yes, yung pending.
Oo, yun. Pag nag-allow na, kasi after your meeting kasi with the secretary, he already gave instructions na for those that have been affected, yung nag-start na diploma at saka yung short courses na nag-start na at nabutan ng lockdown, pag nag-pronounce na yung LGU na pwede na siyang i-allow, then you allow. Yun na lang ang critical kasi institution-based yun, di ba? So, kaya we will still put weight on your development of your blended or your pure learning. As much as possible, be fast. Kasi kung mag-announce siya sa June, may 1 week lang tayo na natira to prepare. Di ba? Kasi sabi ko nga, nagsasimultaneous activity tayo. Gusto natin mag-implement, hindi naman prepared your learning facilitators natin. Nagtitraining pa ang NTTA. So, ang schedule ng NTTA to finish the 3,700 is June. Tayo naman, pag first batch, kayo na yung kasunod nun, TBI na yung iti-train doon. So, pag nag-announce siya ng June, the earliest practically that you can start, July. Kasi magre-recruit ka pa, and then magre-revise pa na. Dahil lahat na ng scholarship, di ba, may allowance na, natanggap nyo na yung circular. Lahat ng scholarship may allowances na, 160 pesos, 500 pesos for access to internet, and 500 pesos for PPEs. So, 2,600. Kaya magre-recompute ho tayo doon sa QMs na approve. Kasi magdadagdagan ho ng cost yun dahil may 1,600 na ho na allowances kahit yung TWSP. So lahat ng scholarship na ngayon may 160 na allowance na daily. So yun yung kwan. Kaya magre-recompute. Kaya we will still urge you, tomorrow will be the presentation. It's a simple format. If you can start working on it already, on time na yon para pag nag-submit na kayo ng kwan, pag pumayag, kasi kahit pumayag ang LGU, they will still require the social distancing. Doon sa ipe-present nila bukas, malinaw doon kung 25 yan, ano yung scheme na ginawa nila levy, yung ganun. You can just practically follow that if you want to have 25 in one setting, you know, most especially for the approved QM. Mag-recompute lang ng cost. So yun ho, it's still the local government unit that will command when to start. It's not the central office. Maybe pag pumayag yung IATF sa Friday na pwede ang TVET, even if the secretary will say June, when in June, because we hope, we cross our finger na talagang sa like in Region 6 o yung mga nasa GCQ, we hope that by May 30, malift na talaga yung lockdown. But they will still require the social distancing. Kaya ganun pa rin, new normal na, new perspective, new modality na yung delivery natin.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Gaspar Gayona, for your input.
Thank you, thank you.
Do we still have more questions po? Kung wala na, again, that is it for the open forum sa session ni Ms. Regina Amores. Thank you very much, ma'am. Meron pa rin po tayong questions on how they can have the copy of the presentations. Yung iba po sa inyo, nag-send na rin ng inyong email addresses. And since we are receiving so many messages po right now sa group chat, you may also directly email us at bmixph@gmail.com or Mindanao TVET Association @gmail.com para makakuha po tayo ng copies of the presentation. Now, to officially close our first day or the part 1 of our webinar, we would like to acknowledge Ms. Maria Carmen Chavez, the chairman of the CBP MinTVET, for her closing remarks. Ma'am?
Thank you. Siguro wala nang nakikinig dahil umalis na halos lahat. But anyway, as we end our first day training, we hope it has given us a new knowledge and it gave us an opportunity to learn despite our situation. So hope this training was able to help us in directing our thoughts, our words, and our action. So may we have another fruitful day, second day tomorrow. And thank you very much on behalf of MinTVET. Thank you very much for all the participants. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Again, thank you very much to everyone for joining our first ever
Thank you.
of the MinTVET webinar on design training curriculum for the MinTVET.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you so much. On behalf of the Mindanao TVET team, thank you very much po for joining, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. This is in collaboration and in partnership with the TechVox Schools Association of the Philippines, or TVSA, and the Private Education Assistance Committee. Maraming salamat po. And we also would like to again, in behalf of the Mindanao TVET, greet Attorney Maricel Engracia a happy birthday. Thank you very much for your efforts and your passion to TVET advancement in Mindanao. Happy birthday, Attorney, and thank you very much again sa lahat ng ating participants for your patience and understanding. We are looking forward for another fruitful webinar